If you had a narcissistic parent, mother or father, and you felt like you were the black sheep of your family, then you need to hear this. This is something that you need to be made aware of. Your narcissistic parents want to blame you, the child, for the dysfunction that happens between y'all's relationship, you and your parents' relationship. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Your parents was the adults the entire time. From when you were a child up until your own adulthood, they were the adults the entire time, and adults should know better. Adults are supposed to know better. Adults are not supposed to go toe to toe with the child like that child is their peer. They go toe to toe with you like you are their peer. And then when you start responding to them as if they are a peer, they get offended, they get upset, they get angry. But it's like, if you're talking to me like I'm your peer, then that's exactly how I'm going to respond to you. They were the adults the entire time. They were supposed to know better. They were supposed to choose better. They were supposed to do the right thing. They were supposed to be mature, but they weren't. And then when you, as a young adult, surpass them in your maturity because you realize, I wouldn't dare do what you did to me, and I'm younger than when you did it to me. That shows that you have surpassed your parents. But the thing is, they were the adults the entire time. They had maturity. Their puberty was fully developed. They had a full frontal lobe developed. They knew better. They just chose not to do better because they chose to do what they wanted to do with their own energy, within their own ego. They operated more from their ego than their soul. So when you have these parents that want to cry wolf and run and play the victim, bring this to them. You were the adult the entire time. You were supposed to know better. I was nothing but a motherfucking helpless child. And I had to go through all of that stuff before I can even emotionally or spiritually comprehend what was even happening. I'm being treated like shit, and I'm trying to wonder, what was it that I did to cause you to treat me this way? Because these narcissistic parents, they have animosity for their kids that they will never speak on. They will never admit that they are jealous of their child. They will never admit that they are intimidated by their child's strength and their child's light. They will never admit that they are envious and jealous of the fact, especially these mothers, they are envious and jealous of the fact that their daughters are naturally beautiful, are naturally pretty, are smarter than them, are cooler than them, are more down to earth than them, more compassionate, more empathetic, more intuitive, more spiritual, more grounded. They hate the fact that their daughters are a more polished version of the parents. They hate the fact that the child is nothing like the parent and they're their own person. They hate the fact that the child is their own person. So the parent grows resentful towards their child, and they treat their child with such contempt because they're so resentful for how they feel towards the child. And a lot of times, your parents did some fucked up foul shit to you when you were younger, when you were like a toddler, when you were like a little kid, before your memory was fully developed. They remember stuff that they did to you when you were 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 years old. They remember all of that stuff before your memory was fully developed. And then when they're constantly around you and you are that constant trigger to them, they grow more resentment towards themselves, and they have all this guilt and regret, and they just project all that negative energy onto you. So they think if they can be mean to you and be hurtful towards you and neglect you and abandon you, it'll make them feel better for what they did in the past. They did what they did with their own free will, and they have to face up to that. They have to take accountability for that. And if they refuse to, hold them accountable for what you find out that they did, because God is going to reveal to you exactly what your parents did to you before you were old enough to remember. She definitely will. And yes, I said she, because God herself is a woman. So yeah, your parents were the adults the entire time, and they should have known better. And if you got more sense when you were a child or when you became a young adult, then that's how you know it had everything to do with their own lack of maturity and their own cold-heartedness, immaturity, and lack of self-awareness. Ashe.